From Charleston County suing the State Infrastructure Transportation Bank over 526 to the very latest with Santee Cooper and SCE&G, State Senator Sandy Senn sits down with me one-on-one for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Senator Senn, it is so good to see you.
Hi, Quintin. It's always good to see you.
Likewise. Well, let me pick up where Daniel Beach left off last week, because when I interviewed him for Quintin's Close-Ups, he basically says, hey, he's completely puzzled by the lawsuit that Charleston County filed against the State Transportation Infrastructure Bank. Are you puzzled by it?
Actually, I am. So maybe Dana Beach and I agree for once. Probably for different reasons, however. I did not watch the whole Quintin's Close-Ups. I'm sorry, buddy. I saw part of it, I did, but I didn't see the whole thing because I just got busy and then didn't go back. But to tell you the truth, when I left the SIB meeting, it was my understanding that we were going to give them one last 30 to 60 day extension, during which we were going to be trying to work out a split along the lines of the SIB paying 70% of the project, the county paying 30% of the project, and us perhaps taking a little bit less than the 420 because they had some things that they thought needed to be offset. That to me seemed reasonable, and I thought it was worth giving them some extra time. I don't know what happened in the interim. I think that that's how we left it, was that the new chairman, who was appointed by Governor McMaster, was going to try and broker some sort of deal. He's a very good lawyer, and if anybody could get it done, he could. Next thing I know, though, the lawsuit's been filed. And I did reach out to find out whether anything had happened in the interim,
right.
And at least on the SIB's end, no one seems to know what happened for the lawsuit to be filed, and I guess just the county was ready to get the show on the road. Now, I'm ready to get the show on with respect to the project, but I just hope it's the right thing to do. I am concerned that the lawsuit was filed in the original jurisdiction in the Supreme Court, where we don't have a single justice from Charleston, and where, you know, certain members of the SIB had everything to do with the appointment of those judges, the voting on those judges. So not that they wouldn't be fair, because I know they would be fair,
Sure.
But I think it'd be very easy for them to look at this and say, hey, this is a Charleston problem, and they submitted affidavits, which makes it a factual issue, and because they made it a factual issue, we're going to need a circuit judge to sort through the facts and then remand it. But at least then maybe we'll be in a posture to mediate.
Okay.
So that's why I was puzzled by the lawsuit. You know, one of the things the lawsuit does is it brings down the state's bonding rate, and it brings down the county's bonding rate. So really everybody got hurt the moment that suit was filed, but then again, maybe at some point a mediator can get us together.
Let me move over to another topic right now, and this is the headline from the state newspaper. SCE&G, Santee Cooper, abandoned nuclear power project. When you read the headline, Sandy, where does your mind go to?
Well, I can tell you early in the session, when I was brand new, you know, I was just elected in November, so January we started. It was within the first couple of weeks that we were taken to dinner by the folks there, and there was a warrant, everybody, and it wasn't just me, it was
right.
you know, the whole caucus.
Right.
And there was a warning that they were concerned that Toshiba was going to file bankruptcy. And the first question I asked was, well, was the project bonded? And they admitted that it was bonded, but not enough. And in fact, significantly not enough. And so we really were just sort of hoping that things would straighten out with Toshiba, but then we heard the latest just like you did. So other than what's been in the paper, I don't know about, but I can tell you this. I do have constituents screaming, and I understand. I mean, I'm a customer of SCE&G,
right.
Skate and all as well.
Yeah.
That they don't want to be paying for a failed project, and it's not going to be right to put it on their back. So if ever I get to vote, it's going to have to go through the PSC first. But when it gets to us, I'm not going to be inclined to help bail out of a huge failed project like that. There's got to be some way to push it forward.
And let me take you back to Columbia, because this is really a story from AP. South Carolina's highest court is delaying implementation of a ruling that was meant to extend domestic violence protections to partners in same-sex relationships, after both sides said the wording of court decisions mistakenly leaves all unmarried couples less legally protected. What goes through your mind when you think that?
Well, I didn't know you were going to ask me about
I'm
that,
sorry.
but it's a good thing
Okay.
that I do happen to know an awful lot about it.
Okay.
Because representing law enforcement, as I have for many years, that decision caused great concern. It was a split decision, caused great concern, and law enforcement and solicitors did not know how to apply it. So I immediately went and drafted a bill and that would fix the problem, and it would take the language back to the pre-1994, which basically includes protection of all persons cohabitating. Doesn't really make distinctions between married, unmarried, gay, straight, whatever. It just says, you know, they're all protected, all persons protected when they're in that type of living arrangement and or when they have children together. So we've got a legislative fix. The problem is it's not going to go in effect until we can get back and you know, work together to get it straightened out. Thankfully, the Supreme Court did stay its own decision, which was shocking. I mean, that's like a Hail Mary pass, you know, that you're just really, I bet maybe 1% of cases ever really get a reconsideration. But I think they realized the confusion that it was causing. I don't know what they're going to do. They may be able to figure out a way to straighten it out themselves, probably by saying that case only applied to Ms. Doe. But I don't know how they're going to straighten it out. I hope they do straighten it out. If not, I've already pre-filed a bill. And unfortunately, what will happen then is our officers are going to have to arrest, like on just assault charges. I mean, they're still going to be arrested, but they'll be arrested under a lesser charge than CDV.
Okay, criminal domestic violence. As we sit here right now, you talk about January. Obviously, it'll be your second year state senator. Who is Sandy Senn right now, state senator? When you look back at all the issues and the bills that you guys have tackled in the state senate.
What I can say is, you know, I was always told that this is a full-time job, and I thought, well, okay, it's January to May,
Right.
And because I'm a good multitasker,
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking, look, it's only 3 days a week
Right.
from January to May. I'll be able to work and I'll be able to get things done.
Right.
Even when I'm sitting in session, I can listen and
Right.
do things. No, it's a 60-hour-a-week job. And I did take 3 weeks vacation this summer, which
Yes.
is nice. But I'm constantly doing, I would say, more political work than I am, even now, doing more political work than I am doing my legal work, because if you're going to do a good job, you got to be responsive. I'm responsive.
Right.
People might say they don't like when I respond, but they do get a response. And it's a full-time plus job.
And you talked about January. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of issues that being tackled really in Columbia. What issues do you have in your mind that you say, I'm going to tackle when I get back?
Well, one of the things is the CDV. I'm also going to handle spoofing. I think these folks who are, I think they're just treacherous, the people who send out these robocalls and it makes it look like it comes from another number. I think that's just fraudulent. It's harassing. It needs to stop. It actually happened to me. One of these dark money groups actually put my phone number out and sent it to Republican voters in my district, trying to tell them to have me vote against the gas tax. And they sent it to my law office, which was harassing because it just basically clogged up my phone lines. And half the people were pushing the button saying, we want you to vote for the gas tax. Don't listen to that robocall. But other people were saying, why are you calling me? I don't like, I don't like robocalls. And you said you weren't going to do robocalls. And it looked like it was coming from me.
Wow.
A pharmacy was shut down because of it. I guess you've seen that. It's been in the paper. I know a builder friend of mine had the same issue. He actually, which is hard for him, he had to change his whole phone number because he was getting threats from people saying, if you call me one more time about solar energy or solar panels, I'm going to burn your house down. So people get really mad. They don't like robocalls. I don't like robocalls. And the senders of those need to be more honest about who they're coming from. And they need to be held accountable when it harms others.
Mm. Well, State Senator Sandy Senn, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, see you later.
You're welcome. Okay.